This is a little video which will be demonstrating some yoga movement and breathing patterns which are very good for helping people that are in recovery or dealing with symptoms of coronavirus. I've just recently been sent links which are in the post with this video from certain doctors who've been working with coronavirus patients. Dr. Munshi in London, Dr. Narasimhan in New York, and a couple things that they've been doing with breathing techniques. One is to do inhale and retention for 5 seconds for a repetition of 5 rounds, and then doing a coughing to loosen up whatever needs to be dislodged in the lungs, and repeating that pattern. That's a breathing technique that's been used and is relatively effective. These are not cure-all things, they're just helpful techniques. And what particularly interesting is what Dr. Narasimhan in New York has been doing is turning people into a prone position, doing breathing on the prone position, which in yoga we call the crocodile. And also an important factor that I've seen with some links is to turn the body into a semi-inverted position so that the lungs can drain. Now, of course, most people are not going to be able to do your typical inversions of yoga, but a very simple, basic pose that can be done that takes you into a prone and semi-inverted position is what we call a puppy dog. And most people would not want to be doing a downward dog, which does the same thing for long periods of time, and for some people it's too strenuous, especially if you're having any kind of extreme symptoms, if you have fatigue. So what I'm going to be demonstrating is very simple, easy postures, breathing, and positions to do breathing practice in. So the first thing is you want to be on something comfortable, like a yoga mat and maybe a blanket under you. And I have an extra folded blanket which can be useful for certain things which I'll show you. Now the basic position is going to be an all fours position where you start, it's a variation of a cat-cow, and if you want to put an extra blanket under your knees, you can. So you got to get all that set up, and then you put your knees on that soft blanket. It gives you a little bit of extra lift, so depending on how high you want it, that way you'll be in a little more of an incline as you come forward. So hips right over the knees, arms reach forward. So you're just slightly dipping. And so then you don't want to be working too hard here. So if you need to, just come all the way down like this. This is what I do as the next stage. If you want to just go right to that, that's fine. But otherwise, have your hands forward, and from a neutral spine position, exhale. And then with your inhale, fill into your back. So you're rounding up into the back ribs. So this is part of what they're saying, is to really get the breath into the back ribs. Exhale to neutral. Then inhale and project forward, heart forward, shoulders wide, looking forward. Exhale to neutral again. Then inhale and lift through the back. Maybe pause for a moment. Drop your chin in. Fill through the back ribs. Then exhale to neutral. Breathing through your nose if you can. Inhale, heart forward, chin forward. And then exhale to neutral. So generally in yoga we breathe through the nose. If you need to breathe through your mouth, that's fine. But just inhale, rounding up, fill through the back ribs. Maybe pause for a moment, get that inhale retention. Exhale to neutral. Inhale, heart forward. Expand. So you're just trying to get as much movement into your lungs as you can. Exhale to neutral. Now let's do a short coughing So you just try to release, just get some dislodging in the lungs. Now let's come all the way down onto the forearms and rest your forehead onto your arms. Now this can be done with something underneath you, but I'm just trying to keep it as simple as possible. Have your forearms there, head resting, and again, just do this pattern but much more subtly, where you're going to go inhale into the back ribs, just fill into the back, pause for a moment, exhale, settle towards neutral, and on the inhale, dip down a little more if you can, your heart towards the floor, exhale to neutral. So if you do this intention of the movement with the breath, it'll help you with your breathing. So inhale, expand into the back ribs, all the way from the lowest ribs, like just think of in between the ribs, creating space. Pause for a moment. And exhale to neutral. Inhale, settle your ribs towards the floor. Again, you can pause. Exhale back to neutral. We'll just do one more round like this. Inhale into your back. Pausing when you're ready. Really fill into the back. Press the back ribs up. Exhale to neutral. Inhale, dip your heart towards the floor. And just pause for a moment. Exhale to neutral. And then from here, just do a gentle cough. So we just want to dislodge whatever needs to be moved in the lungs. Okay, so now if you want to just try the full reach for a moment, see what this feels like to reach and then dip all the way down. Just breathe there for a moment. So this is a great position. You can even be forward a little more and maybe on your forearms. But then I'm going to show you a prone breathing position. So it's helpful to put a blanket roll or extra folded blanket underneath your navel or just below your navel. So across your lower belly. Okay. So you got to situate it just right so that your pubic bone, your thighs anchor to the ground. And this is a sphinx position, is what we like to call this. It's like a mini cobra pose. And so you feel this lift and expansion across the chest, but then what we'll do is cross the arms. Now if you want to be in that sphinx for a moment, just to feel that openness and breathe there, that's fine. But the position that I'm leading you towards is called a crocodile, where you cross your arms and you just still keep a little bit of lift through the shoulders, but bring your head touching softly onto your forearms. Now as you're here, you can feel that same pattern, especially breathing into your back ribs, right? So you inhale into the back ribs as best you can. And pause for a moment. And exhale, release. And then on the next inhale, let your chest come forward a little more. Like that same pattern we were doing up above. Right? So you exhale back to neutral. Inhale, fill into the back ribs. Again, just pausing. Exhale to neutral. Inhale, settle into the the front top lobes of the lungs is, if you need to lift your head a little bit, you can. Now if you want to just go even lower and just soften, then just come to neutral, just do a little cough, and then just relax completely forward and just relax into a smooth, even breath. Just letting go into it. So this is very simple, should be relatively relaxing, even though in the beginning, the first phase is a little bit strenuous, but just do what you can and work with your breathing, and hopefully that helps to move things in your lungs. And I hope this is really helpful for some people, and I'm very happy to be able to share. So let us know if you can share with others, if anyone has positive experiences. I'd love to know. And thank you very much. Namaste.